Chris Raimondi here with Southeast Pit Report. We're at Center Stage here in Atlanta with the Young Wild. You guys just completed an awesome set. Let's start off with band introduction, just your names and your role in the band.
Yeah, my name's Brian. I'm the singer in the band. I guess we all kind of sing.
A little bit.
I sing and play guitar in the Young Wild.
Yeah. And I'm Brandon, and I play drums and sometimes do a little singing.
Yeah.
Where are you guys from and how'd you meet?
We're from San Diego, California. We met in school. We went to school there and graduated a couple years ago, and had always kind of played music recreationally with each other's bands, with a lot of the same network of musicians. And so I don't know at what point that we met, but it may have been during school or after, but I always knew about Brandon and the other guys in the band, and eventually we came together.
And started making some music. So,
yeah,
it's fun.
Would you guys say you came from the same musical styles and influences?
Kind of similar. I mean, I guess in a sense, I guess I would say more like our backgrounds are similar. Brian's parents are both musicians, and my dad's a musician, and so I think more than maybe like influence, just kind of like the household that I grew up in really encouraged music, and I think the same is true of Brian, and so maybe that largely informed kind of musical direction more than actual influences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was everything from just sort of classic rock to funk and Motown and blues and jazz, and sort of to have that sort of some importance, cultivated like in the household, where these are the genres, these are the artists that you should be listening to, these are the records that you should, the books you should read, the movies you should watch. I feel like it was all sort of in one way or another informed by like music, and so we follow trends as much as anyone does probably now. But I think where we began, where it was like our parents really said, no, like, gotta listen to some James Brown, you gotta play drums like that.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been together in the band?
The Young Wild is a little over a year old, but we've all played music in one form or another together for many, many years. Gareth, our bass player, him and I have been in and out of bands together for the last 7 or 8 years. And what we kind of ended right as we started the Young Wild was a classic rock, sort of blues cover band. And it was around that time that we got Brandon involved, and we're sort of at a point where we just wanted to write some new tunes, sort of just start something new and fresh. And I don't know, we kind of came to a head where we had all had a lot of different musical experiences, whether touring or collaborating or writing, and I think the Young Wild is just an attempt to sort of fuse all the best things that we've learned along the way, and it's kind of a representation of that and just what gets us the most excited to hear currently. So.
And you guys have a new EP for now, Not Forever. Where was that recorded?
It's in LA, Laurel Canyon. It's like a cool. We didn't record it with Rick Rubin, but Rick Rubin has a mansion up there. That's sort of what it's known for. But there, and then a little bit in San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, and that came out kind of at the genesis of the group as well. And so it's just 5 songs, but it was enough to just sort of get some touring opportunities, just get music heard, and here we are a year later, working on the full-length album. Out here trying out a lot of new material, and so far so good. Yeah,
definitely
feels all right.
Definitely.
And speaking of which, those tour opportunities, you guys toured with some bigger bands, Barcelona and Switchfoot. How did those opportunities come about?
Yeah, I mean, all just through the agency we work with to book shows. Although Brandon has some previous production credit on a Switchfoot record, he did some engineering.
Yeah, he did some engineering and a little bit of instrumental work on Switchfoot's their most recent full-length album. So, and they're a San Diego band too, so we had heard of them through the grapevine before.
Yeah.
But no, they're really great. But it was kind of cool to be able to have like a little bit of a hometown camaraderie with the couple dates that we've done with them. So, and they're great guys. So that's been a lot of fun to kind of cultivate that relationship.
And how much does touring with other bands like that influence your music and help you write, maybe?
I think it influences more than music, just the way in which we do things on the road. I mean, watching ZZ Ward do her thing on this tour, she's the headliner and it's her tour, and she's really efficient. She has a lot of fun along the way, but She works very hard. She meets everyone. She's always in a good mood. She sounds great every night. So I think more than what they're doing, creatively, which is kind of everybody's own journey, just watching them run their show and run it well, and meet every deadline and always be on time, and everyone's having a good time. Like that's, I don't know about for you, but that's the most impressive thing I've seen so far.
You can't really learn that any other way as well, other than like seeing someone do it really well. That's touring in general. I think you just learn it by watching a lot of people do it well, and then adopting a lot of those ideas and operations, I guess, into your own operation. So
yeah.
Do you guys write while you're on tour, or do you guys usually do majority of the writing in between?
I think the majority happens when we're in one place, when you can kind of set up your little ecosystem and get comfortable, the home studio or booking some studio dates, and not be thinking about, how are we going to eat lunch before we load in 6 hours after we drive to, but obviously I'm always kind of typing on the computer. Brandon is always working on something on his computer as well. That's the great thing with recording. It's like everyone talks about it all the time, but it really is mobile, and you can take it anywhere you want. You can take what you're working on with you.
Nowadays it is, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can't imagine like Fleetwood Mac trying to work on a record in the 70s while on an international tour. It's they have to set up shop and book studio time.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
We can book studio time in the van. And that's free.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. The laptop has totally changed and influenced. So a lot of people's music. So
yeah.
we're just a small faction of that. So.
Is there anybody particularly in the band who writes majority of the material?
Yeah, Brian does the majority of our writing of lyric and melody, and we'll bring a lot of ideas to the band or kind of to a Pro Tool session, and once it's been really kind of formulated on his end, we'll then kind of start building the framework and the skeleton, and then just over the course of days and weeks and sometimes months, we kind of start putting, a heartbeat to it and building it up. But I definitely think that Brian and I have learned that it just takes a long time to get a song from nil to hopefully something listenable that can be on a record.
Yeah, and where it really gets comfortable with the band is when the songs are brought to the table and everybody starts to get a chance to kind of give their 2 cents. Because ultimately everything has to translate live. We're trying out a lot of new songs on the tour right now that have just been like sort of the brainchild for the last 6 months, and have lived in the studio and in our iPhones and on the computer. And so now to be able to play them live, that's definitely something collectively that is really important, because ultimately it's a band, and we have to be able to kind of get the songs to translate, That's my favorite thing about even listening to ZZ or any of the bands we've toured with or bands we like, is like you get the record experience, but you also get like a great live experience that's a representation or an extension of that, and that's what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
We can only do it if we do it together.
Yeah.
Being so young in terms of, you said Young and Wild has only been labeled as Young and Wild for a year. Do you guys you think your identity formed, or do you think that's always evolving?
I think it's evolving, for sure. I mean, a lot has been revealed to us just in this past year, creatively, and just how we can kind of manage the day-to-day as a band, and how we travel, and what each other's strengths are. And so definitely, I think every day is kind of something new is being revealed to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Or does it feel the same every day?
Definitely does not feel the same every day. And, I think that happens a lot not just in music, but in all things creative. I think the more you learn about yourself as someone who's trying to create something from something else or from nothing, each time you kind of move into that process from the beginning again, you begin to learn new ways for you to operate within that process. And I think just that in and of itself will ultimately create a new experience almost every time around, so I think just by its very nature, of course, it's evolving.
And with the current tour, how's it going?
It's going good. This is the 7th show on the tour.
Yeah.
We have 24, 25 left. So it still feels like we've just started, even though we've been away from home for a couple of weeks now. I think it's going really well. Everyone's staying healthy, having a good time, and the Young Wild's getting to a lot of cities that we've never been. So from this point on in the tour, I mean, I think our previous tour, the farthest we went was Austin, Dallas. But from this point on, it's all just kind of new venues, new towns, and new types of people who hopefully will enjoy what we have to offer.
And obviously, you guys are very busy coming up. Are all the dates with ZZ Ward coming up?
Yeah, currently everything on the calendar, which is all at theyoungwild.com. It's all supporting ZZ and with Mark as well. So, and we'll end in our hometown in San Diego on October 18th. So that should be nice to end at home.
It'd be nice.
Are there any other tours or dates on the tour that you guys are really looking forward to? Any particular venues that you guys have marked?
When my dad was young, I think he ran away to Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco and saw Jimi Hendrix play at the Fillmore. Yeah. And only recently did he tell me that story.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
And so I'm excited to play there because it just I haven't been there, but it has a great reputation. And then we all kind of have a romanticized idea about New York. Orlando is going to be interesting. Toronto, Baltimore, Boston, just a lot of great kind of music towns. Different experience every night.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you guys want to tour with in the future?
Rihanna?
I'm
serious, that would be awesome.
Yeah. One Republic would be fun.
One Republic would
I'm just thinking of like bands we could learn a lot from. Just be like, oh, that's how the band thing is done at a really high level. Rihanna.
I think Imagine Dragons is kind of in, I guess, in our sphere sonically as well. I'd like to think that. I don't know if I can say that actually, but I'd like to think that.
More than Rihanna, probably.
More than Rihanna, yeah. But yeah, I think they're people who, I mean, they've really only been climbing for the last couple of years, and I look at that and I'm always just kind of constantly impressed with their songs and what seems like their character. So yeah, I think they would be cool to tour with as well.
Totally. So.
And what's next for you guys after this tour?
Well, we're a little more than halfway through with our first record, which hopefully we'll be putting out early next year. And so I think we'll just get back to work on that when we get home. And there's always talk about other prospective tours before the year ends. Become holiday time, I think we're going to just hunker down and really finish what we started. And I think next year is like kind of our big sort of, I don't know, coming out with a new record and hopefully a lot of new content. Like that's really where we're looking ahead to, is 2016. So.
Yeah.
And how can fans keep up with you guys? How can you keep up with Young and Wild and find your music?
I think pretty much our website is a great way to do it, but really Twitter, Instagram, you can find all of those links on our website. Spotify right now we only have we just released our first single called Not a One, and so we only have one single available to listen to online. But if you follow us on Spotify as well, surely more things will be jumping on there. But yeah, the website and Twitter and
theyoungwild.com.
Theyoungwild.com?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was good
Totally. Appreciate it as well.
Absolutely.